Welcome, everyone, to this afternoon's broadcast of Words from the Cross Relationship Bible Study. We welcome you, one and all, and we are so thankful for your patience with us as we are coming on. We thank you for hanging out with us. We're a little delayed, but we are here, and we are so grateful that you have chosen to be with us. So, once again, welcome.
I'm sorry. Hey, sometimes you just gotta be yourself. Hey, listen. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for hanging out with us this afternoon. Really appreciate you spending the time with us here. We hope that as you um, spend the time with us, that you will be blessed. And please do us a favor. If you could just please hit like and share the broadcast with someone, wherever you might think they would want to listen from. Maybe it's a friend, a coworker, someone who is dealing with trust issues. You need to share the program because we're going to be talking about trust issues today, dealing with trust. So we want to welcome you and thank you for showing up in the space. I hope you had a good week. I had a good week too. So I got to thank God for that.
We're alive and well.
Absolutely. So we are here, alive and well. We appreciate what God is doing. So thank you. Again, hit like and share the broadcast we're talking about
And
today.
invite someone to subscribe, a family member, a friend, someone. Just invite them to subscribe to the YouTube
The
channel,
broadcast.
LGC Ministry. That's all you got to put in, and you'll see it pop up. And we are there. All the broadcasts that we had. Excuses, guys. Today has been a day.
It's been a really bad day technologically, but we're getting it together. It sounds really better now. Sounds really
Yeah,
good.
so
So praise God for
just
that.
help us move this Bible study along as we look at the Bible through relationships,
Absolutely.
and so if you know of someone that is struggling in whatever relationship it may be, a marital relationship or just a sibling relationship, mother, daughters, father, son, whatever the relationship um, malady, if I could say that word, is plaguing your relationship, um, just please direct them to this broadcast.
Absolutely. I mean, it would be nice because we're talking about love, always trust. We're talking about trust in a relationship. And this is a big deal for a lot of
For
people.
many people.
Yeah, this is huge across the country and all over the world. People are dealing with trust. We're seeing people dealing with trust in politics, in religion, in the workplace, in relationships, and sibling relationships, all different levels. We're seeing trust as a really big deal with a lot of people going on. So share the broadcast with somebody and let them know.
Autofocus?
I am going to figure that out now. Um, it's supposed to be.
So, as you guys know, we are on our Love Movement series. And
Yes.
I'm just asking that if you've missed any of these series, Please, 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 please. We've done quite a few by now, and we're coming from 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7. And we started with the biggie: love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. And we finished up last week on it always protects. And so today we are starting always trust. Love always trust. And then we will have two more, and this series will be finished when we complete always hopes, always perseveres. And I hope that you have all enjoyed this series. And, you know, it has enlightened you. You know, these are very popular, very well-known Bible passages. And so, you know, we try to take it and break it down even more and make it very practical in our lives, you know. What does it mean? And so today we're going to dive into love, always trust.
Good, good, good. Yeah, they probably want to go and tell somebody about this program right now, and hopefully we'll have a spirited, lively, enthusiastic, filled with enthusiasm debate. So let's pray. Let's do that. Father in heaven, we thank you for your love towards us today. Thank you for blessing us and being with us. And we ask now, Lord, that as we go into this discussion about love, always trust, that you will be with us today. Forgive us of our sins. In Jesus' name. Amen. Yes.
And as I said before, for anyone that has recently joined, we are in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, and we are at the part that is talking about trust. Love is always trusting. But right now, we're going to dive into Let's Talk.
Mm-hmm.
And
this is a huge one, and I don't need to take some notes. So, Lois, do me a favor. I'm just grabbing my pen.
okay, grab your pen, guys. I guess this is a 6-minute video that my husband found. So
Yeah,
we're going
it's
to
interesting.
hopefully
Just listen.
we will
Learn a lot.
mm-hmm.
You can go ahead. You can go
I
ahead.
can go ahead.
Yes. All right, she's trying to get it out there to you guys.
How many guys would you go on dates with in a single day?
Depending on how much money he wanted to make, probably 4 or 5.
Or 4 or 5? And how much would these guys be giving you per date?
Between 2 to 600.
Wow. So you're talking about, you know, around $1,000 or so.
Yeah, that was his goal.
That was his goal for the day?
Mm-hmm.
And was that like an everyday thing?
No, he didn't. He said he didn't want to burn me out, which I thought I was already burnt out, because that's enough in one day.
Did y'all like continue to have sex in between this time?
Yes.
And so with the people who paid you for dates, would you like enjoy that, or would that just be like work?
To be honest, since I was a little miserable in the relationship, I kind of enjoyed it. It kind of was like that was my only
like
freedom.
a relief, basically.
That was the only freedom I had.
Wow.
So it's like I kind of had fun in a way, because it was like I knew that was when he wasn't watching me. That was when, even though he still was watching the house, he still was watching wherever we was taking place at.
Right. But he wasn't actually there watching
cameras. It wasn't none of that.
And so at that point, did you still enjoy the intimacy with him?
No, it died out.
Huh.
It died out.
What do you think was it that made you?
Actually, it didn't die out because I was in love with him, and I thought that he was, at the time, even though I knew it was wrong, I was so manipulated mentally. I thought that he was doing this to love me or to help us, or I thought that this is the way to help your man when things get low.
Mm.
Yeah. So I guess.
Did he have any other girls?
No.
It was just you?
He did in the past, but just me.
How long was it before y'all met until you know, kind of got into what you thought was a relationship?
About a year.
Wow.
So it's like a manipulation thing. Like if you want to get a girl to work for you, like you if you want her to work for you, you have to spend time with her mind. So like he definitely spent time getting my mind to where he wanted it to get.
What was he doing that got you there?
It would be things he would say. It would be things he would make me repeat to him.
Like what?
Like he would tell me to tell him that that he owns me. So like I would have to tell him that like that he owns me and stuff.
You like have to say it verbally?
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, man.
When we have sex, I would have to say that. And when I have sex with him, I would have to call him my Lord and stuff. Very satanic.
At some point, you know, at 18, we met this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still work for him?
No.
No? So what made you stop working for him?
I had to pray about it. I had to pray. I had to pray myself out of that situation. I didn't know how I was going to get out of that situation.
How did you get out?
I don't want to say too much, but someone helped me. The Lord sent me someone to help me. And
did you have to like physically escape?
mm-hmm.
Huh.
I had to. So what I had to do, I couldn't just leave the first night because when someone knows your every move, when someone knows your routine, you have to be careful because they're watching you. So they know what you're gonna do. So I had to change my routine in order to leave. So what I had to do was I had to say, okay, I know I want to leave today, but I can't leave today. Let me stay here for like 3 more days, 5 more days. Let me make everything normal, keep the same routine until the day I'm ready to leave. So what I ended up doing, I had all my stuff with me. I had just moved out of my mom's house, and I had to move my bags out day by day. So like I can't just move everything out in one day to make it look noticeable. So every day I'm getting up, making it seem like I'm going to look for a job, and I'm going to put my stuff in a car, getting it transported somewhere else.
So the guy that you escaped from, he doesn't know where you were at or anything like that?
Mm-mm.
So have y'all spoken since then?
Wait, I'm sorry, repeat that?
Have y'all spoken since you escaped?
Me and the guy that helped me escape?
No, the guy that you escaped from.
No.
So you haven't spoken to him since then?
Mm-mm.
At what point did you come to realize that this wasn't the situation for you?
When my every move was being controlled and told what to do, down to the point where what I had to eat was being controlled. What I was wearing was being controlled. How I had to wear my hair, my nail color, how I had to lay down to go to sleep, how I had to pray. Even my prayer life had to change because I was dealing with this man. And that's when I knew right then that wasn't it.
How long into it did that occur? So from the time you started, you know, doing that type of work until the time that you realized the moment that you just described, how long was that? How long was that time period?
About a year, I would say.
So about a year strong of being in that work? All right, Zamari. Well, listen, we really appreciate you taking the time, answering all of our questions.
Yes.
And we definitely wish you nothing but the best out here, okay? You make sure you have a good one, all right, sweetie?
Yes, you too.
All right.
Thank you.
In
How many guys would you go on dates with? And
my administration, I'm going to enforce all laws concerning the protection of classified information.
There were documents found in the bathroom, in the shower, in the ballroom, in his bedroom, in his office. That there were documents pertaining to our nuclear programs.
All right. Okay, that's a lot. I played that video because we're talking about love always trust today. So I took some notes. It was 6 minutes long. I mean, it's a lot going on here. It seemed like this was a young lady whom her mom told her about this dude, don't hook up with him. Ultimately, she hooked up with him and things just deteriorated for her. It was really bad. If you notice, she said it was a relationship filled with manipulation. I almost want to say that this guy was, who is up there? Let me see. All right, I want to say that this guy was very abusive. It was crazy. To her, I don't know how. Well, she met him, and the guy's trying to say, well, you know, they went out and all that kind of stuff. But she got in a full-fledged relationship with him. Ultimately, she couldn't trust him. She had to get out. If you notice,
Good afternoon, Kwasi.
hey, Kwasi, yeah, she said she had to pray herself out of the relationship. He knew her every routine.
Every move
he
dictated.
knew was dictated by him. Even when they were having intimacy, sexual intercourse, she had to call him Lord. She
I've
ultimately
heard of that before.
she ultimately had to escape from this guy. She said her every move was being controlled. The way she wore her hair, or what she had her nail color. Even when she prayed, it was being monitored, and she was, kind of taught how to pray. So it was total indoctrination, so to speak.
Avril is commenting, welcome. So
Yeah.
if this was a relationship where the person was controlling and abusive, how is she giving an interview on social media? Wouldn't she have to disguise herself?
Okay. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, because one of the questions was asked when last you spoke to this
Spoke
guy.
to him, yeah.
And she said in a while, but this is being broadcast on social media. So obviously, yeah, Avril, there is kind of a risk
There's
there,
probably
potential
more
risk.
to it in the end.
Yeah.
Maybe he died or something. I don't know.
I don't know. I think she said he's still alive because she said she haven't spoken to him. But here was a relationship, and she said she did it. She did all the things she did because she thought that is what she had to do to support her man. So it seemed like he had her she was being prostituted too.
Because it's
Yeah.
mentioned work, so I was trying
Yeah, that's exactly what she was doing. But he controlled her so much that she was doing
got
his
to her
thing.
mind. She said he
Yeah.
had to work on her mind.
Yeah. And it seemed like she had to really deconstruct a lot of what he said. She couldn't trust him anymore. This is all about trust, manipulation, and people being used. When you get in a relationship with someone, you don't get in that relationship you get in that relationship because you trust something about that person. You go in there in a trusting manner. Obviously, this is not what worked out. So there's a lot of young ladies out there who
And she was 18, I believe, if I got that
yes,
right.
yes,
So she's still so impressionable,
yes.
Avril said the sad truth is that many young women are going through this. People are evil.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get them when they're young and they can, because they're naive, don't have the experience, they have not really had many relationships to kind of know what is normal and what is abnormal. This is where these men focus their attention on.
Right.
Akwasi said, I always find young girls who put their lives at risk after being involved with criminal pimps brave for sharing and educating other young girls.
And I wanted to play this because from a two-prong perspective. Number one, that young ladies need to trust their parents. Her parents, by the way, I read the backstory to this. Her parents told her not to get involved with this man. So number one, they need to trust their parents. Trust what their parents say to them. Their parents know more. They know better. More experience than them. They've been through a lot.
Discernment.
Yeah, they have more discernment. So, and number two, how when a woman gets in a relationship, how trust can be destroyed. So it was a twofold thing that I wanted to put out there. Number one, primarily to younger girls. I'm appealing to those of you who are in homes with your parents and you just believe that your parents are so strict and your parents don't love you and you feel like you're in prison. And 9 times out of 10, when young girls feels like this, they're going to go link up with someone who's totally going to destroy their lives and put them at great risk and have them living in great peril. So when you think about a mother always tries to protect her daughter by telling her, the things that she needs to avoid.
Absolutely.
And sometimes, you have daughters who feel like, mothers are overreaching, that they're too much, they're too strict, they're they're too religious, they're too Christian. And and then you find that these young girls, they go out and they go and meet these guys who are well charming, who look from the very onset well-intentioned, but deep down, these guys have motives, they have a plan, they're all about manipulation, they're all about sexual slavery, they're all about enslaving young girls and who are impressionable. Young people who are coming up, and some of the most impressionable young women are women who are coming out of Christian homes, young women who have not really been out there like other homes where young ladies are not sheltered. And so I really like this video for the simple fact that it sends a loud message. Number one, about young ladies need to really trust their parents, trust their mothers, trust those who are set over them, that they love them. And because love will look out for you, man. Even when you don't understand it, you just need to trust it, right? And just trust your parents. Just trust that they know best. They know what is best. And they got your back. Yeah. But when you stay in the house and you whine and you get upset and you're rebellious, you're disobedient, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that, you don't want to, that's exactly what happened to her. She disobeyed her parents, she got rebellious, she warred against her parents, and then she ended up going out there finding a man that totally enslaved her, totally broke her down to the point where she had to escape for her literal, emotional, and physical life.
Of course, he said, I am almost certain that somewhere in this young lady's past, she was abused by someone else she trusted primarily in the home. Her mind was already damaged, and so it was easy for her to fall prey.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that is totally
a high possibility.
Yes, a high possibility. And so, I just think like and you see, your parents' love is there. A home should be a place where a child, is raised in, and they can feel trusting of that space. Because the more a child don't feel trusting of the space that they're being reared in, is the more they're going to lean towards something that is, damaging, or something that will not be good for them or not beneficial to them. I'm a little bit lost for words, but you understand what I'm saying. It's so important. I'm just speaking back over what Akwasi said, that 9 times out of 10 they're coming out of homes where trust is destroyed, and and there is like adversarial relationship between parents, and child. And so when there is adversarial relationships, this also drives children into the arms of
Seemingly
yeah
a decent guy.
decent people. So I wanted to play this in lieu of we're going to do trust. When you love someone, young ladies, if you love your parents, you're going to trust them. Love always trust. Are your parents perfect? Absolutely not. But can you trust them? Yes, because the truth is they have your best interests at heart. When the world doesn't have your interests at heart, your parents do. And you want to trust them, man, even when it becomes so difficult, even when you feel like they're just against you. And a lot of times, a lot of young ladies, they just want their own way. They want to do them, And so, there's so much to talk about. And also, there is a case to be made that the world and television and social media offers young ladies an alternative lifestyle away from their parents. It offers them that, listen, hey, you're grown and you can do this on your own. Put on the makeup, look good. There's so much out there on social media that is preying upon their sexuality, asking them to explore their sexuality at such a young age. There's so much. And so all these things are driving them away from their parents, the glit and glamour of the quote unquote Hollywood lifestyle and the stars and, the young Miamis of the world and the Megan Goods of the world and the dressing and the close-fitting clothes on their, body. As a lot of things that is driving young people and young ladies not to trust the words of their parents and know that love, when you love your parents, God says you're going to trust them.
Absolutely.
Because love always trusts. Know that God put your parents here before you, and they have certain insights that you don't have. Learn to trust your parents. I played this because I think this is a serious message. There's a word that they use when you have a lot of sexual partners, and it's like a word. I forgot the word, but it's a word they use. It's something. No. It's the amount of time that you have.
Promiscuous?
No, it's the amount of time that you have different partners, and it devalues your. I will figure the word out. It's not coming to my mind right now. But the point I was making is that, the more men that you hook up with, it devalues your self-worth. To me. And it shows, it just drags you down. So you want to save yourself. You want to make sure that you trust your parents, save yourself until what? Until marriage. I know there's this knucklehead out there talking right now. This pastor, I forgot his name, and I'm going to bring the clip to you guys. And he's suggesting that really sex out of marriage is not sin. That's what he's been promoting. And it got huge attention on social media. I forgot his name. Minister David talked to me about him just last week, that he was promoting that sex out of marriage is not sin. Young people, listen to me. That is a lie from the pits of hell. The Bible is
And look
clear on that.
who is
Promoting it, a pastor.
promoting it, yeah.
All right, so yeah, I hope you guys not enjoyed the clip, but I hope it was a sobering moment, you know,
What was our Let's
for you.
Talk?
That's what that is our Let's Talk. Thank you for watching. God bless you. Real good.
All right.
All right, so we are jumping into our topic today. Love is always trusting. I tell you, we have come to that
Okay.
moment. Love always trust, folks. Love always what? Trust. Love
All right.
always trust. Now, before I get into that, I read a quote from a lady called, I forgot, it was an article that was on CNN. Well, I think, I don't remember the article. But, and the lady said, essentially, Lord, she said, what did she say? She said this. She said, a relationship without trust is worthless. I think her name is Mindy. They didn't have her last name. It was an article put out. She said, and I read where she said, a relationship without trust is worthless. Right? And I find that to be an exact truth. Right? And so I've been looking at some statistics about trust and what the new data is reveals relationship are lacking a lot of trust as a result of the digital age. It was put out by bestvpn.com, and they are reporting, folks, essentially, the article is entitled, don't worry, I think 10% of marriage couples don't trust their partner, survey says. And it was put out in conjunction with the Times, okay? So, yeah. Where am I now? So this survey is reporting that essentially 7 out of 10
Admit to looking at
7 out of 10, I'm sorry, admit to looking at partner's phone when they were out of the room. Whoa. Over 60% admitted suspicions, their partner. Over 60% are admitting that they're suspicious about their partners, and that they snoop around on social media, while on their partner's social media and profile while their partner is not in the room. This is really huge. What it's underscoring is the lack of trust that's going on, right?
absolutely.
And there were a couple more that I read that was really a new survey out of UK, by the way. Researchers and survey company found that 10% of married women don't trust their partners, with 9% of women also checking their husband's social media accounts to see what they are writing about and who they're speaking to. A lot of distrust is out there, folks. These numbers weren't as high for men, though, as 3% of men check their wives' social media accounts, and 5% say they don't trust their spouse. According to these surveys, which interviewed 1,000 married couples from ages ranging from 18 to 65 years old, their attitude towards marriage has really changed dramatically, right? So, yeah, I mean, these things are going on out there. You know, technology is also unearthing a lot of distrust among people. And so, yeah, I mean, this is crazy. So what I'm saying is this, is that we're living in an age of what? Where people don't trust each other.
Mistrust.
Yeah, it's a lot of mistrust out there floating around. People don't trust. And you'll be surprised how the different level of trust out there that people just don't trust people on these different levels. Boyd Bailey wrote something, and I want to read it to you as we go deeper into the program. It says, love always trusts, for trust is a staple of love. I didn't even like a staple of love. If you're always suspicious and uncertain, then love is lacking, right? Love thrives in an environment of trust, but shrivels up in a spirit of distrust. I really like that. It is very difficult to love without trust. So I didn't even look at it that way. There are some people who are loving. There's some people who are say they love, but they don't trust their partner. No, that's really real. That there's a lot of people who love,
But it's not
but they
really
don't
love
trust.
then.
No, but that's what he's saying. He's saying it's very difficult to love without trust, right? Very difficult
Yeah.
to love without trust. For it is a lubricant. I love these words. A lubricant for love. So trust is a what? Lubricant for love. Trust calls out love like an engagement invitation. Trust is what it takes for a love relationship to flourish and to take root.
Beautiful.
So, yes, this is really, really powerful, right? It's extraordinarily. This is, yeah, I want you to put that up there. Yeah, Brad Bailey says, love, trust is the staple of love. So what is trust? Let's talk about that a little bit. And you know, 1 Corinthians chapter 13 said that love always trusts, right? Isn't that what it says? Love always trusts. 1 John chapter, 1 John, we're doing trust, right? What is trust?
Yes.
Okay, so we're doing what is trust. So what does the word trust mean as we talk about trust? Because remember, we're doing 1 Corinthians chapter 13 where Paul said to the brethren back there, love always trusts. Why did Paul say to them, love always trust? You know, Paul is not talking to married couples here. He's talking to a Christian community here. That's what he's talking to. He's not talking to a married couple. This is not a seminar or, you know, a marriage seminar. He's talking to Christians about trust because there was some issues in the church and among the Corinthians when it came to trust. And so Paul is trying to tell them that love really is something that trust. When you love someone, you know, you will trust them. You understand what I'm saying? And I think he's saying too that people must be able to trust you if they're going to love you. You know what I mean? People have to be able to feel like they can trust you. And there was a lot of people in the city of Corinth who didn't feel like they could trust anybody. And these were Christians too, by the way. And they were dealing with a lot of trust issues. So if the church can deal with trust issues, can you imagine the people in the world? Yeah, so trust. So what is this? What does the word trust mean? The word trust means, right? The word trust is defined as a firm belief in the reliability, truth, and ability or strength of someone or something. Let's say that again. Trust. Firm belief in the reliability, truth, and ability or strength of someone or something else. All right? We're talking about trust. The Oxford Dictionary defines trust this way: a firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, and strength of someone or something. For example, we trust people who are benevolent towards us, that's the word, who have integrity, and whose actions correspond with their what? Words. We trust someone who we can do what? Count on consistently to do what they say and to do what is right. Trust can also be defined as a verb, an action-based thing, you know, or on having confidence or trust in oneself. All right? On an action level, trust involves being able to do something without fear of misgivings. So it's about trusting yourself. Some people don't trust themselves. They don't believe that they are worth it. They don't trust themselves to do anything. But trust basically boils down to a firm belief in the reliability of someone else. A firm belief in somebody being reliable, telling the truth. All right? That's what it really means. We're talking about trust today. Now, psychologists and sociologists, by the way, are reporting that over the past couple years, there has been an unprecedented rise in trust issues among couples who seek counseling. There is even distrust they're talking about in the church among congregants. There's a lot of mistrust going on out there in the churches too, in the workplace. People don't trust people because everybody is jockeying for a position to get a job or to shine or to be numero uno. And sometimes you have to walk on people, betray people, throw people under the bus to gain certain kind of position and so forth. You got to do that now in today's world. I'm dead serious. You got to do that in today's world. So there's a big rise in trust today, even in the world, even in congregations. Trust issues are popping up everywhere. Everywhere. It knows no boundaries, you know.
And
So,
I think
go
too
ahead.
is a lot of times it's from the people you would never think would cause you to distrust.
Yeah, and then these are the the
know?
people who end up that you're surprised that you couldn't trust them. A lot of these people are family members and family. It's not strangers.
Exactly.
Think about it. We live more than 90% of our lives among people we know within a family circle. So most of the hurt and pain sometimes will come from within that circle.
Right.
Yeah. So pretty much, yeah. People do not trust out there. People are not trusting each other. And this is what was happening in Corinth. There was an unprecedented rise of trust issues in the church. And it was so obvious. It was so overwhelming that Paul had to write about it. He had to make documentation. He had to talk to them about it. Yeah? People were just not trusting each other. This is why Paul is addressing the issue of trust, saying love always trusts. Essentially. So now, listen, the truth is this. It's very damaging, right? When you can't trust someone. How many people out there who just don't trust anybody? And it's damaging. It's not only damaging to the relationship, by the way, it's damaging to the person who cannot trust. So to trust means that you can rely on the other person because you feel safe with them and have confidence that they will not burn you, hurt you, nor violate you. So it's about having confidence in the structure that you're in, the people that you hang out with, that those people will not burn you, hate you, nor violate you in any way. The girl whom we played the video is a prime example of someone who was burnt, someone who was violated, and someone who was hurt. There's a lot of that little girl out there. There's a lot of cases that are out there like that little girl who was burnt, who was violated, sexually, by the way. So yeah, I must be able to trust you. And when I cannot trust you, it is damaging to our relationship. I don't know how else to say this. Trust destroys our relationship. It does. It breaks it up. We have to be mindful. 1 John chapter 4, verse 16, our first Bible text for today, says this. And so we know and rely on the love God has for us. So this is drawn from, yes. So here's the thing. We can rely, okay, on God. That's what the scripture says. And so we know and rely on the love of God. So here's the thing. If it's one person we know that we can rely on, is God. There's one
Amen.
person that we know we can trust, my friends. If you're listening, is God. We can trust God. So I think what Paul was saying in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 7, that, you know, if we can rely on the love of God, then we must be able to rely on each other. I think that was the message. Love does not do this, love not, because it's a reliance upon who? And God facilitates us, so we ought to facilitate each other. I think that was one of the messages of 1 Corinthians chapter 13 when it comes to trust. Trust was a
And
huge
he
issue.
has shown it throughout the Bible, you know, his life,
Right.
even here on earth, that we can trust him. you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
Someone who dies on the cross,
absolutely.
of course you are going to be able to
Absolutely.
trust him.
I agree. It is possible for it is impossible. It is impossible for any relationship to survive in a place where there is no trust.
Yeah.
I want to say that so you know what I'm saying. If you're out there and you're listening to me, we're talking about love, always trust. No relationship can survive in a space where there is no trust. None. It is destined to fall apart because
Absolutely.
trust is the glue that holds the
And as
relationship.
Mr.
together.
Bailey said it's
Yeah.
a staple.
And look at what Mr. Bailey's saying. Trust is the staple of love, Without no trust, the relationship crumbles. Without no trust, the relationship is anemic and weak. So it is impossible. If you're in a relationship right now where you feel that you need to check the computer history, voicemail, text messages, and emails of your spouse or a loved one, it means that there is no trust in that relationship. There's no what?
No trust.
In that relationship. Big time.
And it took a while for it to get there, I think. Right?
Yes.
When you have to reach to the point where you're looking at your partner's phone, their text messages. There had to be incremental steps that brought that person to do that. Things that happened. Wouldn't you say? It wasn't just all at once.
No, I mean it's a buildup of calcification. It's a calcification buildup of over time. It builds up calcification,
Absolutely.
and it gets so hard that trust doesn't. You know, the songwriter says,
Can't
love,
touch their phone.
You know,
Absolutely, Torian.
yeah, love
It's off
doesn't-
limits.
Yes, absolutely. It's just so true. When you got to be checking up on the person's this and that, and you know, sometimes too, that person want to check up on your gadget, but they don't want you to check up on their gadget,
Yeah.
because that fool knows that they're doing something out there that is wrong. But whenever
Yeah.
we have a circumstance like this, we know that the person is doing something
Wrong. Absolutely.
period, right? And I believe a wife and a husband should make an agreement that they can explore each other's phone anytime, anywhere, on a moment's notice. There's no secrets, right? There's no
But
secrets.
I have a problem with that because I believe that if you truly love this person and you trust this person, you won't have to be in a space where it's you shouldn't even be worried about the phone.
I don't think
You know what I mean?
I don't think I'm advocating for the phone, but I'm saying that it is just supposed to be something that comes a natural. I can take up your phone anytime. You can take up my phone anytime.
And not expecting to see
I'm not expecting to see anything. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So from that viewpoint, I'm
take it
talking.
from that viewpoint.
From that viewpoint, I'm taking it to the point you're making, that it's not something that we're going to constantly regulate, but I'm supposed to be able to at any
Use
time.
your phone.
Yeah. Hey, let
If
me borrow
I
your
can't
phone.
find my
Mine.
phone at the time,
Absolutely.
I can say, "Can I borrow your phone?" And you should be
Absolutely.
saying, "Oh no, you can't have my phone."
Absolutely.
know?
That's
Yeah.
a problem, because what is happening is that somebody might call, and you don't want your spouse to find out that person might call or text or send you an email, because everything right now is coming on right there on your phone.
Absolutely.
So I believe essentially, Lois, that from that point of view, we're supposed to be able to pick up each other's phone anytime. But some people make, I think this idea of talking about in a marriage, there is some sense of privacy to some extent. Like, so they use the idea of privacy to paint out this.
No, but you're one flesh.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm saying. There's nothing yet you're
Nothing.
hiding from each
No,
other.
yeah.
The Bible says, and the two becomes one. Okay? So you cannot be doing something, it doesn't matter.
You can choose and pick when you want to separate from the one flesh.
Exactly. And that's what couples do. There are times in this situation, they drift, or they make a stand saying, hey, I don't want the one flesh now, because I'm talking to this person. They're not saying that openly, but they're saying that attitudinally, if you understand what I'm saying. They're bringing that attitude and that energy to the marriage, where they don't really want you to figure out what's going on. So they step away from the two shall become one. And it's hypocrisy at its highest level.
Yes, it is.
It's hypocrisy. You have couples who don't want to share. They don't trust each other to share certain information with each other. Like,
they'll do business transactions
without the other person
secretly. Yeah, without them knowing
what's going on.
Yeah.
They have a whole side game on the side that the spouse doesn't know.
Have
The
any
truth
idea.
is,
Yeah.
when the other spouse finds that out, it's trouble, because trust is torn down, and that person is not able to trust you again. So we have to be careful. So if you're in a relationship where you constantly wants to see the person's phone, and you know that view their voicemail, something is going on. You don't trust the person. And a relationship cannot
And
exist
that
without
at
trust.
that point, the relationship needs help, and it needs to seek, counsel.
And it might be too far gone to seek counsel too.
No, I don't think it's ever too far. I think if both parties are willing.
Yeah. I think once I can't trust you, I'm kicking you to the curb.
Oh dear, I'm in trouble, guys.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying that if I can't trust you, why do I live with you though? What's the point? I'm just trying to. I know people are out there saying, "No, really? He's talking this way?" But I mean, yeah. What's the point in living with someone that you can't trust them though?
You have to rebuild that trust.
You have to do what?
The person has to rebuild the trust. So
Oh. And that kind of work some people don't want to put in because it's too much.
but that's if that is what the problem is in the relationship, that is something that will have to that is the work that will have to be put in to address that issue. You see what I'm saying? You can't say, well, it's too much work and then that's it. I don't want to deal with rebuilding trust in my relationship. Sometimes it is a part of something that you went through in your life that has caused you to be very suspicious. And the other person might be
Well intentioned.
nothing is going
Nothing's
on, but
going
because
on.
of what is going on internally with you. So we have to be very careful too in not being too suspicious, and you know what I'm saying?
And you know what, Lois? Too many people are suffering for people's trust issues, bro.
Exactly.
And it's unfair. Too many people out here are suffering for other
So
people's
if you
trust
so if
issues.
you are in that space in a relationship where you have to be always checking, think about, is it me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Is it my issue? You know,
Right.
before you start to really think that maybe this other person, I mean, it could be that the other person is doing things, but at the same time, it could be that they're not.
Right. I mean, when you think about the statement "love always trusts," I'm trying to figure out, because it
Honey,
could be.
you're
Oh, I'm so
absolutely
sorry. I I'm trying to get really comfy here, so I'm trying to figure this out. When Paul says "love always trusts," right? What do you think he's saying?
There's
Love-
never a time when you shouldn't trust.
Absolutely. And people are supposed to be able to trust you.
Yes.
Because if you say you love someone,
Yes.
Yeah,
You're always going
absolutely.
to be in a place where that
Yeah.
person will feel
right,
comfortable with you, knowing that they can trust you.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, one of the things that it just came back, and so let me say it again. I think a lot of you out there, some of you are paying for people's lack of trust too. I think this conversation flows two ways.
Absolutely.
People lack of trust that they didn't have when they were a child.
Maybe their parents failed them.
Exactly.
You know, they were
and they were
not
in some really bad relationship.
bad. Yes.
Yeah.
Bad
You know,
growing up.
Absolutely.
Stories of, you hear about it.
Right.
Where the parents failed.
Yeah. Yeah, I think those things really damage relationship. But yeah, love should always trust. Yeah. And when you love somebody, I think this is where Paul is coming from. You need to trust them. You can't say you love somebody and you don't trust them. It doesn't make any sense. They're always suspicious. They're always doing something. They're never right. And so, yeah, and I think when people behave like that, they are imposing their own trust issues.
They're the issue.
Yeah,
They
they're
are the issue.
They're the issue. And so the issue is now, do I kick that person to the curb? Do I step out of the relationship? When I say step out, do I walk away from it? Do I, how do I learn to build trust with that person?
That's the work of love, though.
Right. It is the work of love. Unfortunately, a lot of people are choosing to separate and to go about their business. And it's harder to build, like you said, to build the trust, to work on it. It's very difficult, Man, I don't know. This is really a deep topic I want to keep. When I love someone, it means that I should never put them into situations that makes them question my trust. So I'm never going to put you in a situation that you're going to turn around and question. I know there's several times you question my trust. You question my actions as a man. Folks, I've not always been striving for what you say now, godliness. A lot of us, we are learning how to behave ourselves because we were really kind of crazy. And so there are times when I know I've questioned your love and whether you trust me. One of the things the biggest thing I think in relationship that men have to deal with is that their wives and girlfriend or whatever won't trust them. And that's also damaging too, when you don't trust the person whom you love or trust the person you say you hook up with. You're not trusting them. You're just not. And that can be very, very hurtful when you think about it.
Yeah.
When you don't trust someone, you're literally just simply putting them to the side, relegating them to be not useful. When I trust someone, I'm telling you that you're useful, that you're important, that I believe in you, right? And that's the truth. I'm telling you, when you find somebody who don't trust you, kick them to the curb. I'm sorry, I'm just playing. So one of the biggest things that cause distrust is betrayal. I know that for a fact. Betrayal, when people feel betrayed by the other person. And we're going to be talking some more about that in the second installment of this program. The most common forms of betrayal are harmful disclosures of confidential information, breaking confidentiality, disloyalty. Here is a biggie: infidelity. That destroys trust completely. And another thing that destroys trust is slander and dishonesty. These are things that really, really mess up trust. They can be very traumatic and cause considerably a large amount of distress in a relationship. Yeah, trust is really, really important. Snooping around and mistrust for your partner only shows insecurity and ruins the relationship and marriage. And that is what was going on in Corinth, brethren. Listen, it was because there was so much distrust, it was ruining relationship. I'm sorry. It was messing up stuff. It was really tearing down the central core of what a relationship is. And that's what trust will do. So we have to learn how to trust each other. And if Lois said, if there's no trust, we've got to work on building back the trust.
Especially after a betrayal.
After a betrayal, correct. Or after someone released something confidential of you, or after someone, duke you out of that job, took your money away, do some things that is very unholy and ungrateful. We're talking about trust today. If you know someone who's dealing with trust, this is the program for them. We have a part 2 coming up where we're going to continue to address this issue of trusting. Trusting someone is important to your life's journey with them. If you can't trust them, you can't journey with them. Who are you journeying with that you don't trust in this moment? Some people don't trust people under the quiet. They don't say it out loud, but they just don't trust people. Several times. You can imagine what was going on in the Corinth church. People didn't trust people. I saw this today, Lois. I want to put that up there. It says A Recipe for Trust, and it's put out by proverbsliving.org. And I thought this was so important. This was very refreshing. Can you read that for me, Lois? I'm not seeing. What does it say?
Recipe for Trust.
Yes.
1 cup of credibility. 3/4 cup of reliability. 3 tablespoons of vulnerability. 1 handful of respect. 1 dash of selflessness. 1/2 pound of patience. 2 spoonfuls of sharing. Mix ingredients together in a home full of love. Bake at 100% effort using the spark from God's word. Makes enough trust for 1 relationship. How cute is that?
It's up there. They can see it.
Bake at 100% effort. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah.
Bake at 100%.
You can't be at
effort.
50, 60% and think that, this is a continuous thing.
Right.
It always has to be at 100%.
Yeah. So are you trusting the person? Do you trust the person you're with? Does the person trust you whom they're with? I mean, how do you, on a scale of 1 to 10, can you measure where your trust is for the person, and how much that person trusts you? The Bible calls that we should trust And one of the Bible says, I think it's Proverbs chapter 6, 3 verse something says, trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not to thy own understanding. The Bible calls us to trust. But in this day, trust God, by the way, number one. And by the way, when you trust God with all your heart, God will never put you in a relationship with someone whom you cannot trust. There's just absolutely no way. When you trust God 100% with every fiber of your being,
And allow him
to lead
lead
that relationship, God will never put you with someone whom you cannot trust. God will always work it out that you will be with someone who you can trust.
Yeah.
And that's the truth, folks. That's the truth. We are talking about love and trust here. We're talking about the ability to trust each other and how, when there's no trust in the relationship, it is very damaging. Okay? We're talking about that.
I'm interested to see next week which Bible character or characters.
Well, I'm going to talk about David. Are you trying to? Yeah, I'm going to talk about David and Absalom.
Really?
I know Absalom slept with his father's concubine.
But you're giving the whole thing away.
Yeah.
Look
next
at
week.
yourself in the thing.
Oh,
Look at yourself.
I'm so relaxed right now. I'm so chill right now. Yeah. I'm going to be talking about some issues relating to trust. Toriana said, and you know what? After thinking about what you're saying, Pastor, if at some point you realize that someone don't trust you, don't trust, where it is, you, let me see. At some point you realize that someone don't trust you, you can change that by talking with the person and finding out what can you do to make them feel more comfortable trusting me, and keep working towards things that can be more transparent. And I think that will help a lot. That's good. That sounds like it's coming from a counselor. That's very good. Yeah, you gotta talk to the person. You gotta let them know you understand that they don't trust you. Okay. Acts chapter 17 and verse 30 to 31 talks about, and in times of ignorance, God winks at, people in their ignorance. And so there are times literally when, people don't trust you for various reasons. Sometimes these reasons are not even legitimate.
Right.
Because they're dealing with their own set of trust issues too. And so, God winks at those things. But I do believe you're right. That, if somebody don't trust you, you can ask them, what is the issue? Where can I improve? What can I do? And help me to get where I need to get. The problem is we're just so short with people. The moment we can trust them, like I was saying before, we want to kick them to the curve. And sometimes trust issues can be ironed out. Yes, sometimes people can really get a good handle on themselves. Yes.
With the 100% effort.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it cannot be with just a percentage of effort. It has to be fully 100%.
I agree. So we've got to look deeply into ourselves and find out what is signaling or sending signs to another person and allowing them not to trust me. Sometimes maybe I'm avoiding certain levels of commitment, and sometimes people don't trust you because you tend to put distance in the relationship when something go wrong. Sometimes people don't trust you because you're overly protective. Could be. These are some of the things that people cannot trust you for. So these are things you have to sit down
have some controlling tendencies.
Yes, and controlling tendencies.
Ways.
Yeah, people don't trust you if you shut them down in a conversation. Those things can, that's a big thing in relationships, that one don't get to talk, the other is so dominating that the person, that they shut down the other person, and so that person don't trust to come and even talk to them. They rather keep everything internal.
Inside.
They internalize everything. There's so many people right now. I guarantee you, there got to be at least 2 or 3 relationships out there where the woman or the man feel like they can't come to, one or the other to talk, and so they shut down and don't say a word to the person. Man, that's really some crazy stuff right there. So your people must be able to do what? As when you're living with someone, you must be able to trust them, correct? And next week we're gonna look at some Bible texts that shows that we can trust God. One of the Bible text that I love is Romans chapter 5 verses. But God shows his love for us, that while we were yet sinners, he sent Jesus to what? Die for us. And that shows that, listen, hey, you can depend on God. Because look at that. While you were yet sinners, he never ran away. He stayed. He loved us, and he stayed so that Christ can die for us. So there's so much here that we can talk about when it comes to this. Next week we're going to have our a part 2 of Love Always Trust. Love, and so you can come back next week. We're going to stop right here for this afternoon, and we're going to come back next week and talk about what can we do to how can we build trust in a relationship? How can we build trust in the church? What can we do to trust somebody? How do we deal with someone who is untrustworthy and we're in a relationship with them, and we find out that they are not trustworthy, and that is a sore point in the relationship. What do we do? We're going to talk a little bit more about trust. We're going to look at David and Absalom, how Absalom went and slept with his father's concubine, and how that trust was broken between David and his son. And there are other Bible characters too that broke trust, and they had to deal with it in ways. So next week we're going to talk a little bit more about trust. For some of you who feel like you can't be in the relationship because you don't trust the person, man, I feel it for you. But you're in a marriage, you're going to have to find a way to work around those things, to allow and help the person to build on their character. I can tell you there was a time when I couldn't trust this lady at all. I'm sorry. Hey, I'm just being funny. She's a trustworthy person. Come on now. Y'all don't run with it and say, oh, Pastor say, Anthony say that he could not. No, we're just we're just being a little bit funny here. It's okay. I hope you laugh. Yeah, but yeah, personally speaking, I can always depend on Lois, to be honest with you. I don't have certain issues with her. I'm not saying she's a little angel. I'm but just saying that she's just different, and I appreciate her difference. And that's a source of. Can you switch over to the chat for me, Lois, real quick? On the other.
It's there already. Oh
no, yeah. So I'm not sure. So I don't have certain things there that I worry about, but I know a lot of people worry about when their wife or their girlfriend leave the house, where they're going. Do you know that some people put trackers on people's cars
and phones
because they don't trust them? Oh my goodness. And I know people who bugs the phone in the house. They have a landline and they bug the phone because they and they monitor the phone and they tape every single conversation.
That's crazy.
Because they don't trust. Now, when a relationship is like that, I think it's time to bounce.
Yeah,
or like Toriana said, I think it's time to go see a counselor. But some people do, they do have CIA tendencies with their spouses. I'm telling you, they do undercover work with their spouses. Yeah, there are some people who do have CIA tendencies with their work. There are some people who do enact central intelligence in their marriage. In terms of, why are you laughing? I'm just dead serious. It's so true.
Central intelligence.
Yes, in their marriages, a lot of people have that kind of relationship where they have to, be monitoring their partner. And if they don't do that, they have people who follow them or people who watch them at work. All these are saying that the relationship is pretty toxic and it has a lot of trust issues. Yeah, there are people who does stuff like that, man. Monitor the spouse, come and look and to see if who's at the house. Some people, and you see these cameras that people are using nowadays that they could stay in England and monitor the house and the bedroom. They're dangerous. Some people set them up under the disguise of intrusive surveillance of outsiders. But the truth is they set up these cameras to catch spouses and to catch different type of people whom they don't trust doing certain things. We live in a world where people don't trust each other. We live in a world where, relationships are toxic because there is no trust. But I like to tell somebody out there that if you're going through a relationship right now, if you have somebody in your relationship that you don't trust, it's time to stop and turn around and see how you guys can fix it, to see what can be done to improve the relationship. Remember what we said that I remember we quoted something in the text that when we first opened that a relationship without trust is what? Worthless. It's worthless. So you don't want your relationship to be worthless. You want it to be worth something. You want it to be expensive. You want it to be just and true. And so, yeah, we can find ways or we can bridge the gap of trust. Now, with trust, I must tell you, it's not going to be done overnight. There's going to be hard work. And there are going to be days when you have relapses and collapses. I'm learning something now online. They have a new thing now. When you're reading something, they ask you if you want to collapse. Have you ever seen it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, or you want to expand.
Right.
Yeah, it's this new thing they're coming. So yeah, in relationship where there's no trust, sometimes things are going to collapse, and sometimes things are going to expand and be better. But the both of you got to be in it. You can't run out of it. You've got to be willing to put in the work of love to restore trust. And sometimes it might take 5 years for trust to be automated again, be on autopilot, right? Because right now, trust in your relationship might be under surveillance. But we can get it back on autopilot. Mm-hmm. But, we can get it cruising at 30,000 miles again. But we have to put in the work we need to put in to make sure that we are kind of getting where we need to be. Remember, the Bible says, and the two is becoming one. And that will happen. That will happen, all right? When you read 1 Corinthians chapter 13, man, trust me, it's packed with goodies that can teach us about trust. Anyway, we're going to run out of here. We're going to get out of here. Thank you for being with us this afternoon. Absolutely. I know I was a little bit relaxing. I felt a little bit, you know what, folks? So I was a little bit, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But thank you for joining us this afternoon. For those of you who participated and elevated the conversation, we appreciate you. God bless you. Next week, we're going to have the second installment of this program. We're going to look at trust a little bit more in depth. Of course, this is the open, what I call monologue. That is going to come next week, the real dialogue. So we really want you to tune in next week. Tell somebody that we're going to be talking about trust. And maybe one of the questions they're going to ask, if I can't trust that person, should I just get a divorce or just leave them alone? We're going to answer that question, right? Mm-hmm. That question, should I just leave if I can't trust the person? Is there so much damage done that there is no hope to trust the person again? Do I need to live under the central intelligence umbrella for the rest of my life with this person? What am I going to do when the person relapses again and I just can't trust him. We're going to talk about some incentive, and we're going to look at what Paul was dealing with in Corinth with those brethren who were facing the same kind of issues we're facing today. Thank you for watching. This has been Words from the Cross Relationship Bible Study, brought to you by the Kingdom of God and all its righteousness. Thank you for joining. God bless you. My name is Anthony Richards, and this is
Lois. Bye-bye, everyone. Have
We'll
a
see you next
wonderful
week.
week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.